Good afternoon. Long time no talk.
I know, right?
Yeah.
In our new studio?
In our new studio. How is everyone doing?
Well, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm excited to introduce our first guest in our new studio. Her picture will remain off camera, but she gave us permission to use her voice. Hailey, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Hailey, and I'm a local hospice nurse in our area, and that's what we're going to be discussing today.
Yes. So Jade, how did you meet Hailey? Because this is totally a you thing. You totally came up with this guest.
Hailey was my grandfather's hospice nurse, and the day we met, me and her clicked.
Yes, we did.
I loved her from day one.
So, and you said was, so we're assuming that grandfather has sadly passed away.
Yes.
And she was there to kind of deal with some of the heavy subjects that you had to deal with.
Exactly.
And Hailey, you were saying that before we came on camera that you appreciated Jay because he tackled the harder subjects.
Yes.
Do you want to just talk about that just a little bit?
In our line of work, and this is where we will all be one day, it is a very, very heavy and beautiful situation that we are dealing with. We were talking prior to the camera rolling about how I appreciated Jay's ability and willingness to just take the bull by the horn with some very difficult subjects that needed to be addressed. When we go in and we're preparing families, we don't know how it's going to go, and it's often moment by moment, dependent on a patient's state of mind, any symptoms they may be having, their history. So many factors go into their stage of acceptance at any given point as we progress towards end of life.
Right.
So how many years or how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it as a registered nurse for approximately 5 years. Prior to that, I had my LPN and worked private care. I also did private care as an LNA. So I would say all in all, about 10 years.
What is an LMA?
Licensed nursing assistant.
Oh, I thought you said LMA.
And they, I believe, very firmly are the backbone of any facility, hospital, agency.
Yeah.
They are, we couldn't do our job without them.
Do you primarily go into people's homes, or do you work alongside hospitals, or how do you?
I primarily go into people's homes.
Yeah.
We like to keep our people in home and usually have a very good success rate with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've heard hospice people are dying to get in there.
That's you stop. You stop, Jay. It's
Go ahead. So part of our podcast is we want to be informative to people that are kind of going, either will have to go through things like this or have gone through things like this. Majority of us that are in our 40s, 50s have seen somebody pass away and maybe have been lucky enough to have support through that with hospice. What's been the most challenging thing about your job?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I would say one of the most challenging things, and I think it happens to humans, any of us throughout our lives, depending on circumstance, is again a stage of acceptance with a circumstance that is frightening because we don't know the outcome. We're not going to know until we're there.
Right.
I do this every day, and I have moments of, I don't want to say, I think fear is a strong word, but apprehension. Like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I feel very strongly there is something else after this.
Yeah.
What it is, we don't know, and we're not going to know until we're there.
Right. And I think we're all afraid of that. We all have
The
that
great
fear
unknown. Yep.
fear of the unknown, right?
Yep.
I think I've been told that since I was probably a teenager, when I was trying to grasp the concept of my aunt having cancer and going through chemo and radiation and everything that she went through, and eventually succumbed to it. But I remember that there was multiple nurses there and some really great people that my family actually still speaks with to this day.
Yep.
So I think that your job is commendable, and it's a very tough one. What do you do when you've just had a rough day? Maybe your patient has passed away and you find out, or what do you do mentally to kind of keep yourself together? Or do you? I mean, it could be that you don't, and you just kind of just go with the flow.
Like for example, I know we try to get like Pop to smoke
Yes.
marijuana.
Yep.
And you were cross between personal and professional.
Yep. And that is a very common thing. It can come in a pill form. It's ungodly expensive.
Yeah. And was that primarily? Did you want your grandfather to smoke because he was in pain, or
I wanted him to try it because he was in pain and nothing would cure his legs.
Yep. There was the pain, the anxiety, and eventually there was a decline in appetite. I believe the prescription is called Marinol.
Yes.
It's not always covered by insurance.
Right.
And again, if it is, it's not as effective.
Yeah.
This is also something at the end of life we support within reason, whatever the patient wants.
Yeah.
We try to facilitate that.
What is Marinol again?
Marinol is, I believe, the synthetic. It's a synthetic THC. Yep.
Yeah. Jay, what did you like most about having Hailey there for your grandfather?
She wasn't afraid to tell him like it is.
And go ahead.
And guess what he always told me before you got there?
What?
Keep your mouth shut.
And this is something that we struggled with, because every human, every dynamic is different and has its own nuances, whether it's your work, a personal relationship, a job, whatever it may be. And again, I feel your pops was having a hard time, and really it was you, Jay, who took the bull by the horn. I'm sitting there in my head. You sit back, you observe, you feel energy wise where someone is at with their day. Some days you can be a little more forward.
Yeah.
Other days it's really best to leave it alone. I tell people and their families that this is you guys. We're here for support. And with your pops, Jay, I very strongly felt that way, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, it's not the moment, but we need to do this at some point.
Yeah.
today's not a good day. He's having a really good day.
What do you mean not the moment?
Depending on how someone's day is, whether it's really good or really bad, it just is not situation appropriate to tackle unless one is imminent or declining significantly. But again, Jay was mentioning, Ed lived by himself. He's like, what if you can't take care of yourself? And Ed was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, yeah, this is going to happen.
Right.
So I feel strongly that it's a group effort that everyone plays their part in, and we are just there for support, psychological and medical.
I was thinking about it was almost, I hate to compare him to a toddler, but I remember one of his last good days, we took him to Hannaford.
Yeah. Yep.
And we both needed to use the men's room at the same time. And I told him not to go out, let me finish my business.
Yep. And it's, depending on the person, some people are like, yes, take care of me. Let everyone take care of me. And a lot of people don't want that. They want to be independent. Like with the med box, we could see there were issues with the med box. And that was something, that's a thing that most people do their whole lives. They do their own pill planner.
Right.
And I go in one day, I'm like, oh boy. And that was something, I'm like, I'm going to do this for you moving forward. He's like, no, I've done it my whole life. And I'm like, it's okay. Our staff is going to do it moving forward.
Yeah.
And that was also a little tell, and it would be for any nurse that things were starting to progress towards the transition.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes your body is ready before your mind, and sometimes your mind is ready before your body.
Yep.
It's very rare that your body and your mind are totally, completely in sync. And if you've been doing something your whole entire life and you've been independent your whole entire life, I can't imagine what it feels. I do know what it feels like, because now I have to have a walker when I walk out in public, and it's embarrassing. I'm 50 years old, and because I'm a risk to fall, I have to do these things. My mind is still, I'm a teenager, and it's like,
I can go out and do
this and not have to worry about it.
You mentioned transition. Can you explain more on that?
Yes. Transition is what I refer to as death. I very firmly feel that it is just a transition out into the universe. If you look at quantum physics, and I don't want to misexplain it, it very much so supports, basic Einstein, energy cannot be created or destroyed. When your physical body shuts down, it leaves, heat leaves. That's an energy. It's out there somewhere. What happens, we do not know. But there is something else. This can be a very tricky thing to put forth in an appropriate way to the families, depending on their spiritual beliefs. But really, it's science too.
Yeah. Is that, I know we didn't let you answer the question before as to what you do to kind of ground yourself, but is that kind of your thinking on things so that it is easier for you to do your job? Or do you have a moment in time where you feel that loss and mourn that loss as well? Or?
Undoubtedly. Okay. What's interesting, we, as hospice nurses, you're allowed the opportunity also and the privilege of getting in there and feeling out what the patient and the family needs and seeing if there's anything that needs to be addressed before they go, before it's too late to say what they need to say to loved ones. It's stressful, but I categorize it as a very positive stress because I know when we go into someone's home, between me and my coworkers, I love my coworkers.
How about Lori?
Oh my gosh, yes, of course I love Lori. Between, as a team, as a group, we are going to get our patient and their family, loved ones where they need to be. I feel very strongly that we've done a top-notch job at that too. You just have to be very willing to have very open conversations, sometimes sooner than later.
Yeah.
You know, you'll go into a person's home and they're progressing quickly, and you have to say,
Yeah.
you know,
Is there anything that I can do
Yep.
to make this easier?
Yep.
Yeah. And either verbalize that or not verbalize it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we usually let the patient and the family lead the way and work around that as needed.
What was your first thoughts when you met me at Pops?
You guys were just really cool people, and I immensely enjoyed your grandfather. He was such a fun man.
Yeah.
He was so hip. He was so cool. I remember a time we spoke about music a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and Ed had a extraordinarily wide range in musical taste. I mean, wide. I thought I had wide. Your pops knew so much more, and I was saying, you know, I like the 80s metal, like Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath. I went in there. I always called. I never just showed up. I would always call before I went to Ed's, and he was playing, I think it was Pat Boone sings Black Sabbath.
Oh, gosh.
I walk in, I'm like, Ed, what is this? I'm like, what is going on here? And I didn't even know that existed. The really special and beautiful thing about this job is there's just so many amazing energy exchanges. Like, I'll be driving down the road and I'll think about someone that transitioned 3 years ago and a laugh that we had or a good time that we had.
Yeah.
And those moments will come to us at the least expected time.
Yeah.
And it's a very amazing, beautiful thing to be a part
it
of.
comes in as a smell or a scenic view,
Yeah.
or something that you associated mentally with that person. I actually have that quite a bit with my husband that passed away. I really had, there were certain smells and things that really bring me
Would
right back to a
alert
situation.
you also.
Yeah.
And if people are alert to that, they will be noting that and feeling it, seeing it, knowing that their loved one is with them.
So can you tell me what hospice job is? Like, what is your official, this is what you do? If you had to give your job description.
I would first say I'm a registered nurse case manager. So anything that the families are needing, and there's never a repeat. For certain patients, it's symptom management needs, educating them about how to best meet those needs. For other folks, it can be dynamics within the family, things that need to be said.
Yeah.
For other people, it can be a spiritual, there could be a spiritual matter at hand. Yeah. where they're questioning a lot, which undoubtedly we all are going to when we're at that moment.
I had a good question for you. Like, I know, you know, Amy, myself, my mom,
Yes.
we're all pro marijuana.
Yes.
Pop was always, no, not unless the nurse told me, but you legally can't tell
Correct.
him.
Correct.
What was your thoughts when we were trying to explain that?
That is something that I leave entirely up to a patient and their family members. And again, if it's not, if there's not a med interaction potential, like occasionally people like to have a few cocktails. That's not uncommon. However, that can be an issue when you have other medications on board.
Right.
Having more than one or maybe even none contingent upon metabolism, so many factors go into it.
Right.
So that's a tricky thing. And again, drinking, it's a very common thing in society. Again, we like to allow people their autonomy. However, we have that line of what's safe and what's not.
And we were talking about marijuana.
Drinking to me and mixing medications is a very big very big no-no. Yep.
Yeah. But I think because you legally are federally funded, you can't say, or can you say?
It's not. I don't feel it is my place to say.
Yeah.
Again, if it's alcohol, I feel more strongly about that because it increases the fall risk. If someone is on a pain management regime, meds for anxiety, it can exponentially increase the fall risk. So that I don't feel careful with.
Right.
However, it's not my place to go into someone's home and say, you can do this and you can't do this. I don't recall there has been a time that that's ever happened. I'll say, here's the situation at hand. Mm-hmm. What can we do so that everyone is getting what they need? That also allows the family to do this. We tell people this is the most difficult, hardest, most beautiful, amazing thing that you can do for a loved one. Mm-hmm. And it is hard.
It is hard.
I feel very strongly that all of the families that we've been with, they did it. It was them and the patient.
And I even got you something like kinesio tape, for example.
Yes. I forgot about that. Oh my gosh. And then if you have, again, a family member like Jay, you do get people, they skirt around the issue. And again, Jay was willing to put that out there. It needed to happen.
Yeah, Jay is very blunt usually.
Yep, and that's sometimes...
He's usually going to tell you how it is, or ask you the questions, or tell you a raunchy joke when you just said
I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. But really it's all our patients and families who are doing it.
That's awesome. Jay, do you have any more questions?
How did we talk about did we mention mental health yet?
Yeah, I didn't answer it, yeah.
How do you keep your mental health?
That might be a loaded question right now. Every day can vary.
Do you have a therapist or anything?
No, maybe I need one.
That's a good idea.
Some days, because you have to be there 110% emotionally, mentally for people. There are days when I go home and I struggle if someone asks me like a small question, like, what would you like to eat? That's a very helpful thing. Like if they're asking, they're cooking. Right. And I should be grateful, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. What do I want to eat? It doesn't matter. Or what would you like to watch on TV? I'm like,
yeah, your mind is just spent, I imagine, by the end of the day. Is your family supportive in your job decision?
Yes, my daughter meal preps for me, and she's a much better cook than I am. So that's always good.
That's good.
And again, humanity, it's a universal support. And I found everyone just kind of takes care of each other. And if you go into any situation feeling that way, that will be the end outcome. If you're feeling it's not,
Yeah.
we got to spend a little less time with folks like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any important resources or phone numbers
Yes.
or anything
Yes.
for our viewers?
I cannot recall them off the top of my head, but the agency and DH, they do provide a very strong mental health support system, multiple avenues. I mean,
Maybe
in
you
person.
could get us those numbers so that I can post it on.
I think it's just for employees.
Oh, it's just
Yep,
for employees.
yep.
Okay.
So they do their due diligence, so to speak, to make sure that employees, because it is a heavy job, whether you're a
For
surgeon at
young adult,
Dartmouth
yeah.
or a hospice nurse at VNH, there are.
How do we get a hold of you? Like, how do we? Well, not like get a hold of you, but is hospice a referral thing, or
Yes.
is it like okay?
Yep, it is a referral thing.
And who refers you? Your primary care,
Yes.
or anybody can.
Yep.
Okay.
The primary care doctor figures that's a 6, statistically speaking, a 6 or month less prognosis.
Okay.
And again, that's statistically speaking.
And I forgot what month did we start POP, like July or August?
I was on vacation. I want to say your pops came on, I want to say in August.
Yep.
August of 2023, right?
2024.
Was it 24?
Yep.
Okay.
And then when did he pass away?
Middle of December.
Yeah.
I forgot what date.
Yeah.
Like the 10th or something.
Yeah. I don't do well with dates.
Do you have any more questions, Jay?
I just want to say you're more than welcome to join us again.
Yes, this was fun.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
And,
This was nice.
And it wasn't as scary as
No.
you thought it was going to be.
No, it was not.
Hailey, I just want to share, Hailey told me on the phone today that she has an unnatural fear of the camera. And we are all encompassing here. We are all family. We like to try to make people feel as comfortable as we can.
She is very gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you.
You just had to say that, right?
I didn't.
Jay, your face is getting red.
I was trying to describe that.
Oh, okay. She is a very pretty lady. She didn't have anything to worry about, did she?
No.
Thank
So
you.
maybe she can come back again and give us some more tips on whatever she's going to do in the next 10 years of her life.
And she's always welcome back. We're starting a mailing list.
Yes,
Nice.
we are. So we're going to try to keep up with everybody, and that's our next
That's
venture.
good to announce here, too.
Yes, exactly. So Jay, we're going to say goodbye to Hailey.
Yes.
And you can stay right there. We're just going to do our outro. What are we doing on Wednesday?
We're going to Prince Street Cafe. Have you ever been there?
It's the bowling alley cafe.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I've been there. I'm going to put my 2 cents in on this. Excellent food, excellent environment.
Yes.
All-encompassing fun for the family. I really
Yes.
enjoy it there.
And affordable.
Affordable.
You know, depending on how many people you have in your family.
Yep. The food there is excellent.
Yeah,
the
the food is
bowling,
great.
it's a bonus. Yeah, I would highly suggest going there.
So we're actually sitting down with Karen because she has a secret to tell us.
Yes.
And she's going to tell us about karaoke.
Yes. New kids
menu. Cosmic bowling.
Yes.
And then there's some big secret she's going to let
Yes.
us.
And I didn't know about the karaoke.
Yeah,
For a camera shy person, I let it rip on karaoke.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
That's That's impressive. I cannot carry a tune.
That doesn't matter.
It just, I have no rhythm at all. So we will see this, of course, is going to air this evening. This is Sunday, and we'll air this evening, and we will see you guys on Wednesday with Karen and Prince Street Cafe.
Yes.
Thank you, Hailey,
Thank
for
you,
joining
Hailey.
us.
Thank you guys.